Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? So, I just completed an interview that I'm sure you're going to love. It is about a young man who was able to achieve financial independence by the age of 40 on a naval salary. So, really exciting interview. It's being uploaded now. But what I want to do on this live session is it appears that housing crash has become the stimulus video of the week. What I mean by that is people are starting to rotate off of stimulus videos 3, 4, 5 times a day and now talk about housing crash. So over the last month or so, I put out several videos kind of highlighting how a national housing crash in the US is impossible in 2021, but it's becoming harder and harder to fight the just wave of content. So what I want to do in this particular video is if you are hoping for, excited about another housing crash that is similar to the last one in depth and duration, I want to remind you of how horrible the last crisis was. One of the things that hopefully you know about my channel is I've been doing this 20 years. It means I had a portfolio of rental properties before the last crash. It means I was investing during the last crash and have seen the full cycle up close and personal. A lot of these YouTube entertainers are frankly too young to have experienced the last crash. They had no money committed to the last crash. They are pointing at charts they know in theory, but they did not experience and have the memories of last time. So if you are one of those folks hoping, praying for, excited about the next crash, let me remind you of what happened last time. First and foremost, the last crash was definitely focused on residential properties. I am on record saying that this is likely going to be on commercial properties, but nonetheless, let's assume all these talking heads are right and we are about to experience residential pain again. Families lost everything. It was a cascade of horrors. People had taken their life savings and moved it into properties, and they were subsequently removed by banks or sheriffs. That is something that I will never forget. Another thing that happened last time is investors, just as the movie The Big Short correctly articulates, laddered up with stupid loans. And they didn't own one, they owned 5, 10, 12 properties. They were paper millionaires and lost everything. Now you may think, it was bad lending and who cares? They deserve to lose it. But that's mean. That's not nice. And again, to see families and individuals, I know one family that was worth 8 figures, 10 million bucks, who lost everything. And when families lose that nest egg, that security, other bad things happen. Divorce, suicide, alcoholism, drug addiction. It's not a good time. So the last housing crash, residential crash, was very impactful for people's psyche. In addition to that, people will remember it for generations. If you happen to be a teenager, maybe 18, 19, 20 last time, I guess 20 is not a teenager, but you know what I mean. You would remember your parents being foreclosed on, having to pack up a U-Haul truck and move in with grandma or grandpa. You would remember that. And that could impact you for generations. The next thing I want you to remember is a housing crash like this is just not felt at the individual level. We all feel it. Why? Well, banks got, depending on what you want to say, conservative or stupid. Banks suddenly thought all real estate investors were evil. It didn't matter if you had a net worth, a credit score, and income. They wouldn't lend to you if you had more than 4. Bad decisions will happen at the bank level. Banks will conserve so that they can fight another battle, and they will become their own worst enemies. And you as a borrower or someone who just needs that little bridge loan or equity line or personal loan, you will not get it. Banks made the last crisis worse and made it longer. That is why, again, I don't think we have a housing crash in 2021 because banks are acting entirely different. But let's just say all these talking heads are right and it happens. Banks are going to change. Then there's jobs. The economy will be in tatters. If the residential market falls apart, it's about 10 to 12% of GDP. And if we stop building and we have prices falling, we are going to have another leg of our GDP collapse under its own weight. And it will take years to come back, if not a decade. We are still not building at the same rate we were building in 05, 06. And this is 14 years later, 15 years later. So realize what you're asking for if this is something you want. Jobs will continue to crumble. We will really have desperation. It'll be a very desperate environment. More people nervous about what's coming. And fear will come. And then this is the last point. For all of you people that say you want the crash to happen again, most of you, if it does happen, won't do squat. I was in the market last time. I saw prices falling 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50%. All of you people talking all high and mighty are going to get scared and go conserve and put money in a money market or a savings. You'll get out of the stock market. You will just be fearful. That's what really happens is you get this cascading fear. That's why I watch the consumer. I've been watching the consumer for 20 years because I know when I can watch them get afraid that I have the ability to do deals. It's proven. I have a track record and have documented it. So again, people like to talk about the real estate market, the residential real estate market, like it's going to crash. There are so many things fundamentally different than last time. It won't happen. But if it does, I want you to realize what you're really saying is you want Americans to suffer. You want people that have earned home ownership to lose them to the big bank, to Wall Street's. Wall Street's not going to stop buying rental homes. They've proven there's a model that works. Do we really want Wall Street to be the dominant force and dominant landlord? I think not. I think we want home ownership up. I think we want to continually see millennials move from renters to owners. So again, let me be clear. I am not calling for, and I would go as far as saying a national housing crash in 2021 is impossible unless interest rates go from 3 to 6% because of some black swan event. That is the only thing that I think crashes the housing market next year. It's not 3 million people in forbearance. It's not 10% unemployment. It's not. We will have pain in real estate. It's going to be in commercial, hospitality, retail, some multifamily. It's not going to be in residential, folks. But again, expect more and more real estate crash and this and that from people who did not experience it last time. From people who look at charts and say, hey, look, 2020, price equals 2008. Prices have to fall. No, you moron. Interest rates are 3% today and they were 6.5% last time. If prices double, then maybe. But don't just point at a chart and say, oh, let me see. We're the same price today as 2008. It has to fall. That is perhaps one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. All right, I just want to put this out there because I think, again, putting that karma, that mojo out there that you're hoping is a crash is really hoping that you hurt Americans. So at the end of the day, let's see what happens. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.